Hi, Matthew Kameyer, broker owner of 5 Star Property Management here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Here to talk to you today about tenant screenings and background checks. So you really want to start with the money. Do they have the income to qualify? We typically require that a tenant makes at least 3 times the rent in gross income. Also, make sure you verify that. Check with them, get pay stubs, all that kind of stuff. The rental history, you want to look at that, see if there's any gaps. Maybe there's something they're not telling you about. Maybe they are bouncing around from place to place. Maybe there's some underlying issue that you need to know about. Employment, you want to definitely check on that. You want to verify their employment, all those types of things. Calling prior landlords, that's a great thing to do. Probably one of the best things you can do, because if you get on the phone with the landlord, ask them a few questions about if the tenant was late, if they had to serve them notices, if they have a delinquent account, any damage. Prior landlords are happy to share with other landlords or property managers to tell them exactly what's going on. You can also do additional screening, which I highly recommend, because that's where you can really find some details that somebody may not have been willing to tell you about. If they have prior evictions, you can do sex offender check, criminal check, obviously credit check. There's just a myriad of ways that you can go about screening people. I will tell you that you need to be cautious if you're doing a criteria for criminal check in regards to your screening, and you do not want to have a blanket policy that just says anybody with a criminal background is not allowed to rent. HUD will be knocking on your door and probably fine you very heavily if you do that. Other things to consider are if they have a pet, which about 70% of tenants do. So you want to have a good pet application and screening process for them as well. You may have to worry about your insurance company not covering a pet, depending on the type of breed. So call your insurance company. See if they are one of the companies that have restricted breeds. Many of them have about 14 different breeds that they do not allow. You can also have the tenant purchase additional insurance for that type of thing, but you need to be aware that your policy may not cover that. While you're on the phone with them, you may ask if the tenant were to have water-filled furniture like a waterbed or an aquarium, if your policy would cover that. And also on the other hand, you definitely want to make sure that the tenant has their own tenant insurance. We require that everybody have at least $100,000 in liability insurance before they are able to get keys from us. Other things you can do are ask the actual tenant on their application. Have they had an eviction filed against them? Have they sued a prior landlord? Do they smoke? Do they have a criminal background? The things you want to check for is to see if they're actually telling you the truth. It's not like you can't find this stuff on the background check and the screenings, but you want to see if this is the type of person that is willing to tell you the truth. Another little trick you might use is asking for references of people that do not live with them. This will help you in collection cases later on if you need to track them down to get your late rents. A few things I want to caution you on are primarily HUD and ADA. So with ADA, you definitely want to make sure that you are complying with all reasonable accommodations. There's case after case on this. You definitely want to accommodate those disabled. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to pay for the accommodations, however. In regards to HUD, you want to beware of discrimination and disparate impact. So the last few years at the National Association of Residential Property Managers, HUD has come to talk, and they have a firm stance against discrimination and disparate impact, obviously. But things that they brought to our attention were items that you may not have been aware of, like wavering on your security deposit policy, or allowing one person to not have to pay a late fee versus another. Those things can be considered discrimination if you waver on your standards. So all in all, you just want to make sure that you take the proper time to find the right person and screen them properly. If you do, you should have a much more enjoyable landlord experience. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call at 702-852-2852, or you can email me, Matt, M-A-T-T, at 5starpm.com. Happy screening!